Formule 3. Donc la suite est tracée de l'histoire de Max de Fourny. Dernière possibilité pour lui de briller dans cette Formule Renault, ici sur le circuit de Spa-Francorchamps, avec cette troisième ligne, qui n'est pas la position absolument idéale, mais en attendant, on peut compter sur lui. Il connaît très bien les lieux, bien sûr. On a vu hier lors de la course 2 qu'il était capable de mener une course tout en intelligence, en agressivité également. Ça avait donné un superbe résultat, c'est-à-dire cette deuxième place à l'arrache à l'arrivée. Et c'était très bien, naturellement, derrière Gabriel Aubry. Sacha Fenestraz, avec la monoplace verte et noire du Josef Kaufmann Racing, s'élancera depuis la pole position. Il aura à ses côtés, sur cette grille de départ, eh bien, Robert Schwarzmann, avec la voiture numéro 10 du team RS GP, cette voiture qui arbore les couleurs de la Russie. Deuxième ligne pour Will Palmer, avec Gabriel Aubry à ses côtés. Will Palmer, il n'a pas trop le choix. Le début de week-end n'a pas vraiment été positif pour lui. Il doit absolument marquer des gros points, essayer de remporter cette épreuve. Gabriel Aubry, il est sur la suite, sur le mouvement l'élan d'hier, bien sûr, avec cette victoire en course 2. Il aimerait bien doubler la mise et se retrouver de nouveau sur la plus haute marche du podium. Max Futrell sur la troisième ligne de la grille de départ, meilleur rookie, Max Futrell, hier, lors d'une course qu'il a terminée dans le top 5, c'était plus que positif. Il y aura à ses côtés Max de Fourny avec la numéro 9 de la formation RS GP, on vous l'a dit. Ensuite, une première voiture aux couleurs de Red Bull, c'est celle du team hollandais MP Motorsport, la numéro 29 avec Richard Horscourt au volant. Il aura à ses côtés Neil Verhagen.
Welcome back this Sunday to the Spa-Francorchamps circuit for the third race of the weekend for the Renault Eurocup, and the French drivers Sacha Fenestraz and Gabriel Aubry won the first two races at the circuit yesterday. In the morning, the leader of the general classification took a win behind the safety car in the fog, ahead of Robert Schwartzman and Yifei Ye. In the afternoon, Gabriel Aubry won from Max de Fourny and Sacha Fenestraz. Sacha Fenestraz coming in third. Yifei Ye and the Renault Sport Academy driver Max Fertrell shared the honours among the rookies. And while there are still 5 contenders for the crown as we enter the third race of the weekend, RSGP, nevertheless, yesterday sealed its first title in the teams category. So there's some happy faces at RSGP here at the Spa-Francorchamps circuit. 7 kilometers of circuit, as we can see on our screen. A beautiful circuit and definitely the most challenging track of the year as we head into this last part of the season with just 4 races left to run. Gabriel Aubry very happy with his performance yesterday. Interviewed after the race, he said it was a really long race. The slipstreaming, apparently, he said, was incredible for him, and he said you have to watch your mirrors as soon as you're on that Camel Straight, the big long straight along the top of the hill. Sacha attacked hard from the start to the finish. He was on the very limit while trying to make as few mistakes as possible. We can see the calendar here, one more round to go after this one in Barcelona on the 27th of October through to the 29th. We hope you'll be with us there in the capital of Catalonia in Spain. Max de Fourny putting in another great performance yesterday. Max, really an incredible comeback, having started from 6th position on the grid. He came and finished 2nd, de Fourny. He's been known throughout the season to be one of the great attackers of the series. He said after struggling in qualifying, I didn't get the best of starts. He made a tactical error on the first straight where he could have attacked, and then he was able to surprise Yifei Ye when the race came back into play. Before catching up to and then overtaking Robert and then Sacha. He said it was a fine sequence of moves, but I couldn't do it again to Gabriel because of a mistake in the chicane on the last lap. So he congratulated his team there very much. Max de Fourny definitely one to be watching out for today. There on the screen, Sacha Fenestraz, the man of the weekend with Josef Kaufmann Racing. Sacha putting in 3 fantastic performances on Friday for qualifying, and in pole position for 3 races here this weekend. The first time that's happened in this series. Sacha Fenestraz, the French driver, but with dual parents' citizenships. He's French-Argentine, actually. His parents Argentinian-Colombian, raised between France and Argentina. And he won the first race behind the safety car, so not feeling fantastic about that, but going through then to take a good podium for the second race. Robert Schwartzman on the screen in the RSGP car number 10. Schwartzman yesterday knocked down a number of points because he apparently overtook during the safety car. Looking at that steward's decision, They say the stewards, having received a report from the race director and after hearing the driver and the competitor, have considered they determined that a breach of the regulations had been committed for overtaking behind the safety car, and he was knocked back 25 seconds added to his race time. So poor Robert was feeling very dejected at the end of the day. He's had a few bad days of late. But of course, overtaking during the safety car is definitely not a way to get through to the end of the race. So there we go. Will Palmer on the screen. Will has been a great performer at certain points of the year. Will here on this track, though, not going so well. Will Palmer on fourth position on the grid, or third position actually in car number 8. So that's his best position so far on the grid this weekend. Will back in, I think, 8th position yesterday from memory. And trying to knock up a position. I think he might have finished 7th from memory. And Will really has a long way. He's still in the play for the championship, but he's got a lot to do to get there by the end of the season. Gabriel Aubry, of course, the great performer yesterday. Gabriel slipping through on the first lap and going through to take the win, despite a lot of challenges throughout the race. Car number 7, that's Gabriel Aubry from Tech 1 Racing. Max Fertrell, car number 5. Max, of course, one of the rookies on the track, Tech 1 Racing. Max Fertrell, beg your pardon, car number 7. As the track is cleared for the first formation lap of this weekend. Looking at the provisional general classification as we come into this race. Just before that, Max Stefani, of course. Max, again yesterday, as we said, putting in a brilliant performance to come up through the rankings and finish in a very good position at the end of the race. Final positions yesterday was Gabriel Aubry, Max Stefani and Sacha Fenestra as 1, 2, 3. Max Fertrell was in 4th position. The Aussie Thomas Randall came in 5th. And Will Palmer, who was, as we said, started a bit further back on the grid, finished 6th in yesterday's race. Track cleared for the first formation lap. Fenestras on our screen. Fenestras continuing to lead the championship, pulling away a little bit in the lead as they head off for the first formation lap, or the formation lap of this third race of the weekend. Sacha Fenestras leading the championship on 287.5 points ahead of Will Palmer from RSGP on 242 points. So a little over 40 points for Will, but that's going to be hard for him to pick back up, because starting from a 3rd position behind Sacha on first, who knows? Robert Schwartzman on 217. Robert, as we said, knocked back yesterday because of the overtaking under the safety car. And Max Stefani's on 217 as well. So quite a few still in the race for the championship. But it's going to be difficult to catch up on Sacha with a good 44 or 43 points ahead of his nearest rival, Will Palmer. Although there's still 4 races left to run, so anything could still happen in the race for the championship for the drivers. Fenestras winning in Monaco for the first time this year. He won in Monaco last year as well. Then winning, of course, back in Nürburgring, at the Red Bull Ring as well, and also at Paul Ricard. So Sacha Fenestras has been winning pretty well at almost every round, except for the Hungaroring in the second part of the season. Warming up the tyres. Quite heavy fog hanging over the track this morning, now burning off, clearing off. You can see little touches of mist hanging over the upper parts of the circuit. Here at Spa-Francorchamps, one of the most difficult tracks to negotiate in the world. A favourite for most drivers. And for some of these ones, a first time racing here as well. Reminder also that this is a combination of the Eurocup and the Northern European Cup. Several drivers in the NEC here this weekend, including, by the way, of course, yesterday's accident, which was car number 44. That was Gilles Magnus from Belgium, and he's back on the track today. So Gilles apparently quite shocked with that accident. It was a very hard impact against the wall. But he's back in the car today, and let's see how Gilles goes in car number 44. He is starting from the 5th line on the grid. He was the vice champion of F4 in France last year, just behind Yifeye, who was the champion. We'll see how Gilles goes on this 3rd race of the weekend. Running quickly down through those grid positions, we have Sacha Fenestraz on the number 1 position on the grid, on pole in car number 11. Alongside him, Robert Schwartzman, who'll be doing everything he can to try and climb back up into the top position, or at least finish at least 2nd on the podium. Robert's desperate for points at this point in car number 10. In the blue car on the right of the screen as they stand by for a start. 4th position on the grid, Will Palmer. In 2nd position in the championship. Also Will be doing everything he can on this track, which he is an old hand at. He's been here a couple of times before. Max Deforny in car number 9. He will be one to watch, because he'll probably try and get back up through the positions, much as he did yesterday. Max starting a bit further back on the grid, but he will be one to watch, as he's one of the biggest attackers of the season. Max Deforny in car number 9 on the 3rd line on the grid. Alongside him, the rookie Max Fertrel in car number 7. Standing by for a start. The lights are running. The green light, the green flag is waving. The engines are roaring, and they're off for a start of this 3rd race of the weekend. Fertrel is on a clear line coming into the corner. Fertrel first through the corner, ahead of Schwartzman, Palmer, Aubry, Fertrel, Deforny, Verschoor, and Verhagen. Yifeye, the Chinese driver, just behind, running off the side on that first section, coming down through and towards the Rédillon. Very close pack coming up through that first section into the Camel Straight. As we can see, Schwartzman going on the outside, perhaps on an attack. Fertrel holding his, Fenestraz holding his position on the inside, going through those first corners. A lot of tussling. Schwartzman on the outside, dropping back. Fenestraz holding on to the lead further back. A lot of action happening, locking up the brakes from Palmer. That's Aubry in car number 4. Actually dropping back a couple of positions there. And a car off to the side. We have 2 cars off. That looks like Lewis Leeds, the Australian driver, in car number 2. We'll have a yellow flag, no doubt, at that section. Fenestraz holding on to the lead. Ahead of what looks like Palmer just behind. Clear coming through in the final section through Stavelot and into Blanchiment. Sacha Fenestraz leading the field. The safety car will be brought out at this point, with 2 cars off the side of the track. That's car number 2 of Lewis Leeds. Who started quite a way back in the pack on the 13th row of the grid. The drivers out of the cars. Apparently no damage done at this point. The medical car out. Another look at that spin-off. 2 cars coming off at the same time. The yellow flag out. And the safety car coming out. Difficult to see at this point exactly what brought them into contact. They were very close-knit going through that section, so the stewards will no doubt have a closer look at that over time and see exactly what happened. That's the yellow flag out, the safety car. We have Sacha Fenestraz with Will Palmer just behind. De Forny back in 4th position. Schwartzman in 3rd. Current position, Sacha Fenestraz in car number 11, with Will Palmer having moved up a position into 2nd, with Robert Schwartzman in 3rd position. Robert again will be disappointed with that. Max De Forny in 4th position. Max having started 5th, so Max also popping up 1 as we see a replay of the start. Action happening a little bit further back as they go through the La Source hairpin, then down into that fast downhill section towards the Rédillon, the Eau Rouge. The most famous part of this Spa-Francorchamps circuit. Just in front of the pit area. Beautiful view of those cars coming up through the most difficult section of the circuit there after the Rédillon. Locking up on the inside. And a tussle happening there as we see Schwartzman dropping back in car number 10. Also another replay of the action of that unfortunate incident. Cars being towed off, the marshals clearing the track. Again here at the Spa-Francorchamps circuits. They have some of the best in the world at doing that, and they're very rapid indeed as the cars come back through into the Blanchiment. Sacha Fenestraz, young French driver, claimed his first pole position in the Formula Renault Eurocup last year in Monaco, after the former pole sitter Lando Norris was taken off the seat. And subsequently, he took his first victory in the series in that race in Monaco. Came back into Monaco this year and won again. This year, testing with Joseph Kaufman Racing in the post-season testing Estoril. They signed Fenestraz for the championship this year. I'm very sure that they're very happy about that decision. Started karting in 2006 at the age of 7, taking part in events across France and Argentina. And then he switched over to Formula Renault 2.0 in 2016 with Tech 1 Racing last year, and as we said, got the first pole and win at Monaco. And so far this year in Monaco, the Nürburgring, Red Bull Ring, and Le Castellet. Of course, here, the first race of this weekend, which was also a novelty since 2011. It was the first time that a pole sitter had gone through to win the race here in the Belgian Ardennes. Car number 2 being lifted off, the other car out of the action, car number 40. It's Charles Malaysia, the Renault RSGP driver, also racing in the NEC. Joseph Kaufman Racing being pipped for the championship this year, as we heard earlier on, by RSGP. RSGP will be no doubt having some major celebrations this weekend. Kaufman won the team's title in 2012, 2015 and 2016. They also took Robin Freins, Stoffel van Dorn and Lando Norris to the Formula Renault Eurocup crown. Other greats in the past from Kaufman included Gerhard Berger, who, when asked about Gerhard, they said before joining us, Gerhard Berger had no experience at all. And 2 years later, he was in Formula One. Stoffel van Dorn, Nico Hülkenberg were also special, as was Robin Freins, who won 3 titles in 3 straight years, and 2 of them with Kaufmann Racing. Other greats with Kaufmann include Frank Biela, Esteban Gutierrez, Marco Wittmann, Adrian Tombe, Christian Vietros. The list goes on. Of course, Sebastian Buemi went on to have a great career as well, having raced with Joseph Kaufmann Racing. That's a very long list of people who've been with them and have done very well. And now, today, we have another one who'll be going down, no doubt, in the books as one of the top drivers of this series, Sascha Fenestraz, who's been definitely showing his worth with, as we said on Friday, 3 absolutely brilliant performances to take 3 pole positions as the tow truck backs out through the safety fence, and they'll be preparing for a restart with 15 minutes left to run in 1 lap. Keeping the tires warm. This absolutely spectacular circuit. The sun now gleaming down about 13, 14 outside at the moment. Track originally 15 kilometers long back in the old days, up until the World War II, when there were the first changes. One of the most legendary circuits, if not the most legendary circuit of Europe, with the famous Rédillon and the Eau Rouge Valley that the cars go through. As we mentioned yesterday, Eau Rouge, in case you don't speak French, of course means red water. That's because the banks of the creek down in that area are red. If you ever go down for a wander just under the creek, as they come through La Source hairpin and get back underway racing again. It's Fenestraz leading the pack. Fenestraz pulling away now as they come down into the Rédillon. A nice lead for Fenestraz ahead of Will Palmer, Robert Schwartzman, Max Stefani, Fertrell, Verschoor, Aubry, Verhagen, Opmeer, Yifeye and Magnus. Magnus, as we said, off yesterday with that quite spectacular accident. He's currently the #1 NEC driver in the race in car 44 in 11th position. A nice misty view of those cars coming through. Palmer starting to put pressure on Fenestraz. A little gap further back to Max Stefani. Max waiting in ambush. Max will be looking to attack a little bit later on. Ahead of Max Fertrell. Fertrell ahead of Schwartzman. Not too sure what happened there. Coming through on the outside, keeping that position. That's a difficult run through there. That's Verschoor on the outside. Verschoor in car number 29, putting pressure on Schwartzman. Schwartzman perhaps disheartened after his bad run. Fenestraz continuing to lead the pack through ahead of car number 8 with Will Palmer. Action happening further back. Very nice overtaking maneuver on the outside. Will he get through? Not through. As they come down towards the Blanchiment. Sascha Fenestraz leading the pack. On the outside, we've got more attacks happening now. It's Verschoor and Fertrell, by the look of things, battling a little bit further back. Excellent action happening going through those curves. Finally giving up. They're going through. Several battles happening further back in the pack as Sascha Fenestraz continues to prance away out in the lead. Going through La Source and down into the long, fast downhill. And one car coming back into the pits. Is that Schwartzman? Looks like he's coming back into the pits. Robert Schwartzman in car number 10 has dropped right back, and it might be Schwartzman coming back into the pits. see what happened later on. Schwartzman was being overtaken at several points there, and that is Robert Schwartzman coming back into the pits in car number 10. Robert Schwartzman currently in third place in the championship. We also have a car off on the side. Very dangerous position there as well. It's in the upper number 29, Richard Verschoor, one of the Red Bull drivers, off in the start-finish straight. So the yellow flag will probably be coming out again. There is a yellow flag at turn 19. As Schwartzman off into the pits. Richard Verschoor in car 29 off. Nice action happening further back. Yellow flag at turn 19. The green flag now again. We have a green flag. Sacha Fenestraz leads. Another car off to the side. That's car number 21. Car number 21, that's Yu Yang. Sun Yu Yang, the Chinese driver. Very tricky track. This is car number 17 overtaking on the outside. Car number 17 of Alex Peroni, the young Australian driver. Haven't been seeing too much action from Alex, so that's interesting to see Alex finally back on the attack again. Coming in wide on the La Source hairpin, coming back down into the Eau Rouge. It's Sacha Fenestraz leading from Will Palmer in second position. Will going to be very happy if he can stay in that position or perhaps get back up to the number one. But Fenestraz protecting his lead very efficiently. Up through the left-right-hander and into the very, very fast section of the track along the Kemmel Straight. Les Combes. As Fenestraz leads by an easy margin now after 5 laps from Will Palmer. Palmer still keeping the pressure on though. We have car number 21, Yu Yang, off to the side. Around turns 12. We've got a yellow flag at the moment. Several cars out of the running now. We have Yu Yang out of the running. Schwartzman is into the pits and out of the running by the look of things at the moment. No news from the pit lane, but Schwartzman is in the pits still. Richard Verschoor, number 29, out. Malaysia out, and Leeds is out as well. Fenestraz continuing to lead. And will he actually finish this race as the winner, proving that you can start as poleman and actually race here and win as well, which is one of the things he was trying to prove he could do, because that hasn't happened for quite a while. 27% only of pole sitters actually have won here over the years in this series. And no pole sitter has won here since 2011, except, of course, in race 1. We've got some action happening on the outside. That's car number 17 again. That's Alex Peroni attacking yet again the Aussie driver in car number 17 of Fortec Motorsports. 7 minutes left to run. With Sacha Fenestraz leading the pack by just under 1 second now from Will Palmer. Beautiful images of those cars coming down now in what is absolutely perfect racing conditions here this weekend. Yesterday they got off to such a bad start with the fog and mist where they couldn't actually finish the race. Car number 7, that's Fertrell attacking De Forny. This is not in normal De Forny style, because normally De Forny is the one attacking. De Forny is under attack from Max Fertrell in car number 7, the rookie. And That's interesting to see. Perhaps Max is not going too well there at one of the Red Bull cars running off the side. That's car number 33, having a bit of an off-road sortie. That's Daniel Tichtum, young Red Bull driver from the UK. Sasha Fenestraz digging a gap now from Will Palmer. Quite a nice gap back as well to Defoni. Fortrell no longer down Defoni's exhaust pipe, but Fortrell has been putting some pressure on. In car number 7, Gabriel Aubry behind Fortrell. Gabriel, the winner here yesterday, but not quite up with the pace at this point. Fastest lap from Sasha Fenestraz, 2:18.821. That's a very good time. The circuit record lap was 2:18.441 back in 2015. Isakian, I beg your pardon. And the best lap, circuit lap in qualifying was a 2:16.645. Great images again of those cars coming round through these broader, faster corners, coming into the La Source hairpin, as we'll see the cars heading back down into the Rédillon, the Eau Rouge. Fenestraz now digging the gap. Fenestraz 1.465 seconds ahead of Will Palmer. Will contenting himself with the second position at this point, with Defoni in third position, 3.2 seconds behind the leader, and Max Fortrell now dropping back just a little bit from Defoni. A nice clear lead from Sasha Fenestraz. Fenestraz, the man of the weekend, with 3 pole positions, a win on race 1, a podium for race 2, and now looking like he's going through for a clear win in this third race of the weekend. Fenestraz, a clear leader of the championship as well, coming into this race, as we mentioned. Fenestraz on 287.5 points, more than 40 points ahead of Will Palmer. And that gap is going to be dug just a little bit more today if the things continue the way they are. Robert Schwartzman out of the running, and he will be dropping back even further in the championship. Max Defoni will go up into third position in the championship if the status quo remains until the end of the race. Schwartzman will drop down into fourth position. 3 minutes 40 left to run with 1 lap. After that, Sasha Fenestraz breezing away in the lead, putting in excellent times again. He's the only sub 2:19 driver in the last lap. Fenestraz putting in a 2:18.982 seconds, with Palmer on 2:19.472. So definitely a big gap between those 2 drivers per lap. This is a big circuit, 7 kilometers long, so a half a second is not very much. Will Palmer putting in a better lap just now, coming through with a 2:18. Sasha Fenestraz continuing to lead the pack from Will Palmer. Verhagen, Otmir, Yifeye, Daniel Tichtum back in 9th position in car number 33, and Tom Randall, the Australian, in 10th position in car number 16. Fantastic images, the sunshine gleaming down on this absolutely breathtaking circuit of Spa-Francorchamps, as just 2 minutes left to run. That's going to be about 2 more laps to go, with Robert Schwartzman out of the running. Will Palmer in 2nd position behind Sasha Fenestraz. The Pouhon, number 11 of Sasha Fenestraz, leading comfortably from Will Palmer. after there's 3 more races at Barcelona, will leave 75 more points in the bag for whoever is able to get them. But it's looking pretty good for Sacha Fenestraz as we go into that final round, with Fenestraz going to be digging his lead just a little bit more in the championship with this race, and will be almost virtually untouchable unless Will Palmer really takes a rabbit out of the hat over those last 3 races and Fenestraz doesn't finish any of them in the top few positions. So that's going to be quite a difficult one to call. Robert Schwartzman now pretty well out of the running for the championship at this point. It's going to be those 2 drivers, Sacha Fenestraz and Will Palmer, who are really going to battle it out in the last races in Barcelona. But Palmer in 2nd position here behind Fenestraz. Very, very similar lap times from these two drivers. The top 3, Fenestraz, Palmer, and Futrell, the rookie, also putting in a sub 2:20 time. They're all within the same second. So Futrell will definitely be one to watch in the coming year. Through the Eau Rouge, and one of the cars off to the side coming through that section 2, going down into the Eau Rouge. Will Palmer keeping the pressure on Sacha Fenestraz. After 9 laps, Fenestraz leading by less than 1 second ahead of Will Palmer. Max Futrell a good 4 seconds behind the leader. Deforny just behind. Fenestraz, Palmer, Futrell, Deforny, and Aubrey just behind. Several investigations after this race. Incidents involving cars number 29 and car number 10. That's Verschoor and Robert Schwartzman. Of course, we saw Schwartzman coming off, so that's probably why he's come off, is there's something happened there between those 2 cars and a contact that we perhaps didn't see. Cars number 16 and 17 as well. That's Randall and Peroni. We saw a lot of action happening there, and there will be an investigation into actually what happened as they come through to take the final lap. Several cars out of the running. We have 5 cars out at this point. It's car number 30, 21, 10, 29, 40, and car number 2, Lewis Leeds, all out of the running. Leaving Julie Pankovic in the tail ender position, with Naji Razak just in front of her. And Sacha Fenestraz prances out in the lead, coming through La Source hairpin and into the last lap of this 3rd race of the weekend here at Spa-Francorchamps under beautiful, slightly hazy sunshine. Fenestraz just under a second lead still from Will Palmer as they come through for the final time. Last car's coming through the La Source and down into the Rédillon. Up the left-hander, right-hander, and into the final, into that big straight, the Camel Straight. Through Les Combes, Fenestraz leading with Palmer just behind. Palmer won't be able to get through, though. Action happening a bit further back with cars number 33, car number 1. That's Daniel Tichtem, who'd run off a little bit earlier on. With Yifeye, some of the top rookies as well. The top rookie of this race is Max Futrell in 3rd position in car number 7, putting in an absolutely brilliant race. He just put in a best time of 2:19.286 seconds for him. An excellent time for Max Futrell in 3rd position. And one of the cars off in the lead. That's car number 6, Thomas Neubauer. Thomas Neubauer, the French driver, off in the Tech 1 racing car, sliding and hitting the tires. Back up with the leaders as they come in towards the last sections of the track and prepare to take the checkered flag. It's going to be Sacha Fenestraz for the second time this weekend. Ladies and gentlemen, Sacha Fenestraz with a nice little lead now from Will Palmer. Sacha Fenestraz coming through to take the checkered flag in just a few seconds' time. What a brilliant race from Sacha. Sacha Fenestraz taking the win of the third race of this weekend ahead of Will Palmer. Behind him, Max Fertrell in car number 7 and Max Stefani. What a brilliant race from Fenestraz, leading from start to finish. An absolutely faultless race for Fenestraz, and he's going to be over the moon with digging an even bigger gap now in the championship with another 25 points. That's going to make him almost untouchable as he goes into the final round in Barcelona in a few weeks' time. Sacha Fenestraz, the man of the weekend, putting in an absolutely brilliant race. Further behind them, Verhagen. Neil Verhagen is in 6th position. Another look back at that incident we just saw earlier on. Going over the curb. And some of the curbs here are very high and tricky as well. Numerous incidents in this race. Good work from our LSM operators finding those interesting incidents and bringing them back to us in the comfort of our living room or wherever we're watching this. Sacha Fenestraz getting out of the car, a very, very happy French driver from Joseph Kaufmann Racing. Fenestraz being congratulated by family and team and his co-drivers as well.
Good job, mate.
A brilliant performance from Sacha Fenestraz. Congratulating his car as well, why not? It helped him get there. Sacha Fenestraz with the 3 pole positions this weekend. The first time in this series that one driver has had 3 pole positions in a weekend. Also the first time since 2011 that a pole sitter here in Spa-Francorchamps has gone through to take the win, and he did that 2 times this weekend. An absolutely brilliant performance from Sacha Fenestraz from Joseph Kaufmann Racing. Looking at the table, Fenestraz from Will Palmer, Max Fertrell, Max Stefani, Gabriel Aubry, Neil Verhagen, Jarno Opmeer, Daniel Tichtum, Yifei, Alex Peroni back in 10th position, Vartanyan in 11th, Thomas Randall in 12th position, followed by Maxwell, Goddard, Chavez, Guzman, Martineau, Magnus, who got back in the car after that really tough accident yesterday. He'll be finishing the number 1 NEC driver this weekend, Magnus. Mattis behind him, Bird, Corneve. And we go back down to the pit lane, where we'll be talking to the winner, a very, very happy Sacha Fenestraz, and see what he has to say about this terrific race.
Sacha, congratulations for this absolutely wonderful winning.
Yeah, well, thank you. It was quite a tough one, to be fair. Well, with the safety car didn't help, obviously, so yeah, the goal was to try to make the gap. We've made the gap before the safety car, and then I thought it was going to be hard, and it was hard. So yeah, Palmer was really fast, so I had to over-push to try to make a little gap, so he doesn't have a lot of toe. And yeah, at the end it was just wonderful.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Brilliant performance, as we said, from Sacha Fenestraz. As we take some time to look back at what was an action-packed race. Nice clean start from the upper starting grid here at the back. It's a tough corner to start through, and they start going very fast down through here. A few cars going off onto the rough, but in the end quite a clear start for most of them. Sacha Fenestraz holding on to his lead in those first parts of the race, and managing to hold on to them, onto the lead all the way through, although quite a lot of pressure from the following cars. Action further back saw an impact and problems for Robert Schwartzman, who will be out of the running a little bit later on. Schwartzman knocked off. Also, Lewis Leeds in car number 2, the Australian driver, spinning off and hitting the wall quite hard at one point. Yet another incident involving cars number 2 and 33. I beg your pardon, 21. There were incidents right throughout the race. Pushed off, spinning off. It's one of those races where a numerous amount of accidents and incidents happened, including that very tricky one from Thomas Neubauer as well. Gabriel Aubry dropping back. After that, Fenestraz leading the way all through to the end with Will Palmer in second position. Another incident for car number 6. It's Thomas Neubauer, who had the slight tangle earlier on, with Sasha Fenestraz keeping a nice even gap from Will Palmer all the way to the end of the race, followed by Max Fertrell in third position and Max de Forny in fourth, and then Gabriel Aubry finishing in fifth position. Looking down the hill at the second start-finish line and the paddock and pit area as we head back down to the pits in just a few moments' time, hopefully for the podium. Quick flashback with a nice visual clip from our team in the OB van here. They're absolutely excellent at putting together these sorts of images. And we head up to the podium, where we'll be seeing Sasha Fenestraz taking the top step for the second time this weekend. Also, numerous times this year, as Fenestraz is definitely going to be leading by a big margin going into the last race of the season. Fenestraz, born in France. He also is running in the Northern European Cup, or has been in the past, and winning in Monaco, Nürburgring, Red Bull Ring, Le Castellet, and here at Spa-Francorchamps as well, leading by a very good margin over the second-placed Will Palmer in the championship. Will be still within reach for the last races of the season. 3 more races, as we said, going into Barcelona. Schwartzman is going to find it very, very difficult after this round to get back in contact with Fenestraz and Palmer, unless something really spectacular happens in the next 3 races. De Forny just behind them, and Gabriel Aubry in the championship as well. And a reminder as well that this weekend saw the victory for RSGP in the Eurocup Formula Renault team standings. Finally, yesterday, getting enough points to take the unbeatable lead of the championship ahead of Joseph Kaufmann Racing. And in third place on the team championship, it's Tech 1 Racing, followed by Arden, MP Motorsport, AVF by Adrian Vallis, Fortec Motorsports, JD Motorsports, and Marc Burdett Motorsports. As Max Fertrell, the rookie, steps up onto the podium. Will Palmer going to be very relieved to be back on the podium as well, with some good points, keeping him in contact with the lead of the championship. The leader, a very, very happy Sasha Fenestraz, taking the top step of the podium. And he'll be taking the Marseillaise, which we'll be hearing for yet another time this weekend here at Spa-Francorchamps. this circuit that's seen so many incredible races and incidents and accidents over the years, and these drivers finally standing here on a podium of absolute legend that can look back at when they're older and say, yes, I won at Spa when I was just a teenager. On September 24th, 2017, I was there and I won. I was on the podium. This is what might be going through their minds at the moment. Definitely a memory that will stay with them for the rest of their lives. Winning on one of the most, if not the most, legendary track of Europe, if not the world, Spa-Francorchamps. As Fautrel receives his prize, the third place, he will also get the rookie prize. Max Fautrel, the best rookie, the second rookie on the table will be Neil Verhagen in car 31. The third rookie is Opmeer in car number 30. And Sacha Fenestraz taking yet again a #1 prize in the series. The look of absolute joy on his face, as we also see the team prize for Kaufmann Racing as well, and the rookie prize for Max Fautrel. #1 rookie in the right hand, #3 overall in the left hand, and congratulations, he also gets the Eurocup to take with him as a mascot, the famous Eurocup that's been following the guys around the last few races, as they take the family photo up on the top step of the podium here at Spa-Francorchamps. And a reminder, ladies and gentlemen, that we'll be back for the final round of the season in just a few weeks' time at Barcelona on the 27th of October. 3 more races to run. Championship still possible to be won by other drivers, but at the moment Sacha Fenestraz definitely leading by a good margin. As we thank you all for joining us this weekend, and we'll be seeing you back in a few weeks' time in Barcelona. Until then, thanks for joining us, and bye-bye.